The Square Ball Podcast.
Hello, welcome to the show. Brought to you by Levi Solicitors. 10% discount on your legal fees. levisolicitors.co.uk/the square ball. Third time we've done this for this weekly show now. Special video only intro you get here. Aren't you lucky? I'm watching this on YouTube. What are you getting, Michael? Some props.
A hat.
Should we do the sponsor thing that's more important first?
More important than a hat and a mug? I don't think so. Look how nice these are.
You can get them on our website, but what's more important than that right now is the people who pay us money to talk about them. Levi Solicitors.
Good bunch of lads.
And lasses.
Lasses too.
Yep.
Yep. But they all do all the legal stuff, don't they? Between them. They get it all done.
Such as?
Oh, the ones, the probate, the conveyancing.
You sick of me? I ask you this about 10 times a week and you've still got nothing more. That to me, in my eyes, is professional negligence, Michael.
Which is something they do.
For business. So I'll be seeing you. I mean, technically, I am HR, so we'll be addressing that.
And that botched hair transplant you've got, that's medical negligence, isn't it?
It is indeed.
And you're annoying me just by being sat in here. Is that a commercial property dispute? I think it might be.
I think you're probably wrong, but they do that.
That's for your business. Let's not even get into the list of all the things they do for you personally as well.
Like wills, probate and conveyancing.
All of those things. What they do is remote appointments as well, so you can be helped by Levi's no matter where you are in the UK. levisolicitors.co.uk/the square ball. We're into part 3 now. Heroes and villains. Good and bad across the last 7 days. First is the Ken Bates Villain of the Week award. The candidates, the runners and riders, the board. Marshball gets a nomination. The players, Jackie specifically, Bamford specifically, McKennie specifically. Everyone and everything feels like a good catch-all there in the middle. Melier, me specifically.
What were you nominated for again? I did put this on the sheet. I can't remember.
Oh, it's because of the stat, which I should say is it's an Opta stat. It's not mine. I just mentioned the Opta stat.
You chose to repeat it. If you repeat something libelous, you're on the hook for it.
It's not libelous, though, is it?
And it's the same principle, though.
Teddy Lucic's missing hairpiece is suggesting that if any club could book the 8 points from the first 4 games, bollocks. That's wrong. It's 8 points from the first 5. Who's the real winner? 8 points from 5 games, 95% chance of staying up. If ever there was anybody, any club that could book that
But he does go on to say, but in all seriousness, the board. Get these chancing frauds out of this club ASAP.
And Alexander wants to have a go at us, generally, all of us, for celebrating 1 point in 2 games. No, we weren't celebrating 1 point in 2 games. What we were doing is remarking upon improved performances. So, back in your box, Alexander. We're not going to award it to ourselves.
Might give it to you, though. Which should seem fair.
And finally, Seamus Coleman. I think he's going to be high up on the list for me. Not that many nominations relative to the board, but I think there's a good shout there.
You definitely hate him.
I was going to say I'd nominate him. I can't stand him. Well, I don't know, actually. I never felt that strongly about him until Saturday or Sunday or whenever it was. It's one of those players that whenever you look at the ref, he's always in his ear. And I know he's not Scouse, but he's got a bit of a Scouse face. He's just been there too long. Is that
just evolved, do you think, in his time in the city?
And he's one of those, kind of sums up a lot of the stuff that annoys me about the Premier League, how Everton fans, like the first 6 months of the season, always seem to hate him and say he's rubbish and he needs to leave and he's too old and he's finished. And then they'll get a new manager and they'll sort of have a bit of a bounce. It's like, oh, Seamus, he's our guy. He's been here for so long. We all love him. You think, go away.
Is he the leading candidate right now then? I mean, there's plenty of swear words attached to the nominations for the board.
I mean, the board
don't need to really get into all those. Everyone understands why.
Yeah, I mean, the board are absolutely walking it in terms of the nominations.
I mean, one of the nominees here is nominators, is Scoobs Pubes, which needs to be mentioned just for that.
Good name. But the word mismanagement crops up a few times.
Fetish as well.
Clowns.
Which talking about the Jesse Marsh fetish.
Yes. Yeah. Marsh Ball, as you mentioned, gets a nomination for the game against Everton was a demonstration of what 1 year of Red Bull anti-football does to a team, which is fair enough, probably. Oh, what we had. Not that it was great at the end of Bielsa. Obviously, we have to give that caveat.
But he did have 3 years in the bank of it really working and spectacularly well. So that's why we liked that, and we didn't like this because it never produced anything, did it?
No.
I mean, misbehaving when bathing sums it up when he nominates everyone and everything. Says, I draw more pleasure from paint sniffing than from watching Leeds at the moment.
Don't do that, by the way.
And Scrooge, on a similar tip, nominates everyone but Eddie Gray.
I've been trying to get hold of some lead paint.
to drink it
in recent weeks. Just sanding old bits of skirting board in the house in the hope there's still a bit in there.
Just pray for some asbestos up in the roof.
I've got some asbestos I need to get rid of, actually.
I mean, given your own DIY proclivities that you like to sort of tackle these things on your own, please don't do the asbestos on your own.
Do you know what? You actually can do it on your own. It's a sheet asbestos, and if you buy the correct masks and suits, you can do it yourself.
Please get somebody in to do it.
We'll see.
Has Matt Letizia been telling you this?
Yeah, he says you can do it yourself. He said it's perfectly safe. You can crunch it up as much as you like.
You can't.
You absolutely can't.
It's absolutely very dangerous.
Yeah.
So please don't do that.
That should. Yeah. Well, I probably won't tackle it myself anytime soon. Anyway.
If you leave it in there, maybe put some gaffer tape over it for a start.
Gaffer tape will fix most. You do actually have to tape up the bags if you do bag it. You bag it yourself, double bag it, and tape it shut.
Asbestos tips there for you.
There you go.
Who's having it then? Is it Coleman or is it the board?
I mean, we've not touched on Melier. Just says our inescapable fate is the name's gone for. He just says, I mean, come on, and fair enough. He's saved us. He's saved us a lot of times.
And again, it goes back to the credit in the bank thing. It's just that it's a very inopportune moment to have an error like that.
It was one of the when we were all watching it, we sort of went, it's in the net.
Yeah,
is it?
How's that got in there? And you thought, well, that can't be Melier's fault because he was obviously far too wide. But then when you saw the angle from out wide, yeah, it looked bad, didn't it?
Yeah, very bad. As did Jackie's performance. As did Bamford's performance.
McKennie as well. Gets a mention. All fart, no poo, this fella.
Got the hard mark and passed the ball to a teammate.
What do you reckon then? Come on.
God. I mean, the board probably have to get it, don't they?
Yeah.
Particularly because they've...
Have they dodged it to this far?
I don't know, actually.
I mean, just in case they have dodged it, even though they probably haven't, let's just double make sure that they have.
Yeah.
Just give it to them.
Yeah.
And
particularly as it's just before Gracia's come in.
Yeah. I mean, they could have just appointed Gracia, a couple of weeks ago, couldn't they? Or indeed a couple of months ago, if that's what they were going to do.
Or maybe even a year ago.
Yeah, it's not been a great year for him.
No, it hasn't. And this is your reward. Congratulations.
No, your real reward comes at the end of the season when you get the managers in the Championship.
Right, so Player of the Year, you were saying before, Michael, in one of the previous parts, that it's the lowest average score of the season, this one.
An average of 3.62
so
across the team.
Lower than the Leicester game. Our star performer was Junior Firpo. Again, 5.2, a glorious 5.2, 1 out of 10, with a steady scale all the way back down to Jackie Harrison, who got the wooden spoon with 1.75 out of 10. You don't tend to get that in the YEP, do you? Graham and his made up numbers.
I mean, people, wherever you put a player rating, people are furious about them. There's always someone who says, you're watching a different game to me.
But we average this out over hundreds, if not thousands of votes. So
yeah, it's a quantitative survey, isn't it?
Yeah, and Scoob's in the gang right bang in the middle at 3.63 out of 10.
I mean, I think it's probably fair to say that had Jesse Marsh put that performance out, he would have received a score of less than 1. Mm-hmm. But I think people are still...
That's because you hate him because he's American.
Not me. People who submit scores.
That's because they hate him because he's American.
Well, as shown by Brendan Aaronson's score, 3.15.
Right. Player of the Year, Nonto out in front still. Tyler Adams second. Max Verber now in third place. And Melier...
Shame he's injured.
Melier dropping down. But his score won't get diminished, will it?
That's true, I suppose, yeah. It's weird on the Player of the Year thing, because I sort of feel Player of the Year is Tyler Adams.
Right.
But it's Willie Nonto.
I mean, you might feel it's Tyler Adams, but you're wrong.
Because it's Willie Nonto.
I think since Willie's come into the team, has there been anyone better? I know Tyler's been pretty consistent all year, but...
Yeah, I suppose it's because Willie gets to do the fun stuff, doesn't he? Whereas Tyler Adams has to just grind along in midfield.
Do you know what? I mean, listen to your argument there. I think you're right, but you're also wrong.
It's fair enough. Give it to the fun player. It's fair enough.
So it tends to work, isn't it? Whatever. Yeah, on to the Hero of the Week award.
But I will say, Junior Firpo's his recent scores have got him climbing. He's now from the bottom up, Player of the Year and stroke manager. Jesse Marsh down the bottom. Rute, Matteo Joseph, Joel Robles, who I don't think he's done anything wrong, but there he is.
Harsh.
Cody Dramé, Junior Firpo. There you go. I think Junior Firpo's out of the relegation zone. However, that's decided.
All the people at the bottom are just literally the bit part players, apart from Rute, who's only just come in and he's yet to make an impression, and Paul Diego, who's out on loan at Roma at the bottom there. Right. Hero of the Week award. Gaetano Berardi Hero of the Week award. Awful week.
Yeah, I didn't put all the people who nominated nobody because
Is it lots?
it was by far the leading candidate based on nominations.
Hitchin Mike has said no one. Burn it down, burn it all down, which was actually the name of this week's Propaganda Extra episode. It was something along the lines of burn it all down, burn it to the ground. That's how we all felt, didn't we, this week? Very nihilistic. Junior Firpo.
I mean, he definitely received the bulk of nominations. Alice was nice about him. He said, genuinely looked so good recently and deserved to start the game. He's a ray of sunshine in the relegation storms. That was actual praise. A lot of the other praise for Firpo was things like somehow has been the most consistent player in the last few matches. Yet, surprisingly, yet again, probably our best player, even avoided picking up a yellow card.
I like the enthusiasm of no one or Firpo. Fuck it.
There's also Will Train's comment is Firpo 2.0 thanks to Max Verber for the positional upgrade to his software, which tickled me a bit. So he's got a good number of nominations. Elsewhere we got Nonto, Adams, Scoobs gets a few. Rafinha for his goal and assist against the Scum. Bielsa, you're longing after a past love here, aren't you? With those nominations.
The referee gets one, which is rare. In fact, the referee's score was right in the middle of our player ratings because the dickhead ref is also someone who gets a rating every match, and he was better than a lot of our players in this game, which probably speaks volumes because referees tend to get about 3 as an average score.
I was going to say in terms of peripheral figures, the kit man. Scoob's not a scapegoat, wants to nominate the kit man because at least all the players had shirts. Can't think of anyone else who put in a better performance this week. That's how bleak a week it has been. Ayling gets another nomination as well.
I mean, none of them really. There were no heroes, were there?
I'm prepared to not award it this week.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Do we let Firpo have it?
No, did he not win it last week?
I was going to say you were tempted to give him it last week, weren't you?
And the goal that Coleman scored came down Firpo's side. He wasn't the one chasing back, admittedly, but maybe he should have been.
The fans was the other standard fallback option where people just say, for going and that.
Yeah.
Or death, the blessed relief of death.
Yeah. Comes to us all, doesn't it?
I'm still alive, so I'm not. That's not having it.
Rafa's a good shout. A goal and assist against Scum.
I'm just not feeling in a charitable mood for anything like that.
He got he got taken off not long after and got very angry and started punching the seat on the bench in front of him, even though there was a teammate sat on it who was kind of doing his best to pretend it wasn't happening.
He apologised, didn't he, for being a naughty boy?
Yeah, although Xavi said there was no need to apologise and even said he can call me names if he likes. I don't know if Xavi's into that kind of thing. But
do we give it to Gracia? He's turned up, hasn't he? These nominations were all post Everton.
For being daft enough to accept the job.
He's taken it. I think he deserves some credit for that.
It's made me feel better this week, him getting the job.
Yeah, me too.
The sense that somebody's in charge of something.
And someone with something of a CV, albeit kind of in for a year at a time in the main, but at least he has experience of coaching people.
And this feels like the safest week to give it to him because we've got absolutely no Leeds United related data about him.
Yeah, all I've watched was the video of him being interviewed at Watford and he seemed nice.
Yep.
Yeah, everything I've read about him I do like, but that's without having actually seen him in charge of Leeds United.
Not seen one of his dreadful teams yet.
Javi Gracia for being a nice bloke.
Yeah.
And that's the best we've got.
Yeah.
I mean,
it might cheer him up as he sits in his hotel room on his laptop waiting for an email about his work permit.
Watching a stream. His goal's been closed down, hasn't it?
Yes, I believe it has.
Seized the domain. So he can't even watch that, can he? Blessed relief and all that.
I think they've successfully stopped all streaming now, which is good news for the authorities.
Well done, lads. Well done. That's interesting. I was prepared to award it to no one, but we're definitely going for Gracia.
Yeah.
Someone should have it.
Yeah, let him have it before we tear him to shreds next week.
Maybe actually, if we do go down, that's the week that we can keep it back for nobody.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, fine. All right. So well done, Javi. Welcome. That's the best we can offer you in terms of a welcome. Is a prize before you've even started. First trophy.
First trophy.
Under Javi.
Of sorts. We'll even send you a Nonto mug if you want.
Because we'll have a warehouse full of them we can't shift in the summer. Again, somebody, I think it is Pete who's, because you tweeted out, Michael, didn't you, that the mugs were back in stock a little earlier on, and Pete's just tweeted back saying, just as he goes off the boil. He's not off the boil.
He's off the boil. He's just not had the ball.
But you can put your kettle on boil, can't you?
You can. It's only, how long ago since he scored that goal against Scum? It was
2
like
games.
Yeah, and in days, that's not many, is it? Because
He might as well retire. He's that useless now. Anyway, so well done, Javi. Good luck.
Really,
Please
sincerely good luck.
Yeah, really. Yeah, and please don't be shit. That's all. But best of luck.
Stick with the good luck.
Had we nailed it before?
I think so. I think end on good luck.
Good luck, Javi. We'll speak to you soon.
The Square Ball Podcast.